Microsoft. And what that means is about 3 years ago or so, LinkedIn was acquired by Microsoft. About 2 or so years prior to that, LinkedIn acquired the company that I work for called lynda.com, which makes a lot of really good content. So 5 years ago, I think it was May 11th actually, that's when I joined LinkedIn. So I've been here for quite some time, been working in higher education for that time, working in the Northeast, worked in Canada, worked in the Midwest, working in the West a little too, probably I would say Canada plus 30 states. So a lot of involvement around the country when it comes to higher education. So what we're going to do today is I like to make this a discourse as much as possible. So as Brian mentioned, they're going to monitor the chat. So if you do have a chat as we're going along with this, absolutely ask it in the chat, and they're going to toss the question over to me. And it could be about anything that we're doing at the time. What we're going to do is we're going to go through some of the philosophy behind what LinkedIn is, what LinkedIn's mission is, and then actually go through some of the profile. And when we're talking about the profile itself, we're talking about some of the things that make a profile stand out. A lot of people want to think that LinkedIn is the modern resume, and it is, but it's much, much more than that. So it's an opportunity for you to really build up a network. People you know, people you're connected with. You'll see the difference between the first, the second, and the third connection on LinkedIn, what that means, and we can go into that. But LinkedIn is really an opportunity for you to put yourself out there, to create a network, to interact and engage with people, either if you're looking for a position, if you're not looking for a position, it still gives you an opportunity to get out there and interact. But we'll start going through what that is. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here as soon as I get it up. Bear with me here. I gotta kill this. Okay. All right.
Here we go. I think we can see it now, Eric. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, it wasn't letting me move the. I was looking at myself, even though we kind of are. So yeah. So again, my name's Eric, higher education specialist with LinkedIn Learning. It is a part of, if you will, it's an app within LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has multiple apps, if you will. One is recruiting. So recruiters can go on LinkedIn from companies and they can look for individuals. They can look for people to hire. They can look for all kinds of stuff. There's marketing. So you can get marketing if you're a company on LinkedIn. There's sales. It's called Sales Navigator, which is a tool utilizing LinkedIn to help find connections. If you're a salesperson, connect with a company, and you can talk to them about providing LinkedIn services or any services whatsoever. And then there's some new ones. There's a new one called Glint, which is a survey service, which is really popular with the HR groups and stuff. And there's LinkedIn Learning. LinkedIn Learning is content. So we are the skills gap, if you will, that LinkedIn had a few years ago, where they couldn't help individuals build their skills from, let's say, beginner to an advanced person. They acquired the company that I worked for, which built a lot of really good content. So that's where I work within LinkedIn. So this is just kind of our agenda here. We're going to get to know LinkedIn a little bit more. Why LinkedIn particularly? We're going to talk about your profile, your story. We'll go into what that means. And then beyond the profile itself, Q&A, and then we'll wrap up at the hour. So getting to know LinkedIn. What is LinkedIn? The vision of LinkedIn is to create economic opportunity for the world, for every member of the global workforce. What that means is LinkedIn has this vision where they want to create what they call an economic graph. It is quite literally a graph, a model, a representation of the entire economy, all the jobs within the entire economy. It's defined as the true north of what LinkedIn really is to create this opportunity for everyone. And so our vision is followed by what our mission is, and that is to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. So in your case, let's say as students, you can kind of translate that a little bit. It's to help individual students become the new professionals for the world and make you productive and more successful. So that's what we've done is we've partnered with WSU to help you guys move this mission forward. Very similar to what you guys have in terms of what your mission is as well. And that's why there was a really good fit with our partnership. So why LinkedIn itself? LinkedIn is an opportunity to connect to opportunity. So when you're on LinkedIn, you build a network. It's like going to sort of the classic situation where you used to build networks in person. As you go around, you hand your business cards out and you make a network. But this is the way to actually put this online. It's very different from any other social media. Is you can go on LinkedIn and you can build out that economic graph. You've got in the network, the full LinkedIn network, 675 million members. That's worldwide. 50 million companies, millions of jobs. We changed the number on that. It used to be over 30 million jobs. It's a little bit different now, as you might imagine. 36,000 different skills are now identifiable on LinkedIn. And I'll show you what that means when it comes to your profile. 90,000 schools utilize LinkedIn. You can go right now to LinkedIn. You can look up Wichita State University, and you can find the university page for Wichita State, which gives you all sorts of information about Wichita State on LinkedIn. Faculty members, staff members, student members, where your students are. It's a good place, students. It's a good place to look for potential network of, hey, I want to get a job at this particular company. Here are people that have jobs from WSU at that company that I want to look at. Maybe I can reach out to them. And then of course, in terms of knowledge, is the amount of information that is basically shared on LinkedIn. Tons and tons of information is shared all the time. You know, where you've got people providing their own presentations, you have conversations, you have all these different things, people sharing things. A lot of conversation occurs on LinkedIn, and you can also utilize that in multiple different platforms that we have, or the apps, if you will. So your profile, your story. So this is where I get into what it means to have a good profile. So some of you may on this call may be marketing students. If you really boil it down, LinkedIn is marketing. And specifically, it's you marketing. So what I like to talk about this part is about your brand. Your profile is your brand. And what you're doing with your profile is you are creating your professional story. You're peppering in personal things, the picture, volunteerism, all these kinds of things that you can do. But this is your professional story. This is who you are. Even if you're not, let's say, a professional, if you're a student still. This is who you are as a potential candidate. And so it's all about creating your brand. What sort of brand do you want to present to your potential employers? And that's the most important thing. For the school, it's great because the more individuals that they have on LinkedIn, providing, sharing, doing all these other things, they're creating brand ambassadors for the school. It's great because, I mean, it's the same way with me. I graduated from school. I'm out here in California, graduated from school, still buy the hats, still go to games if I can, all that kind of stuff. You're always a member of the school, whether you're in the school for the 4 years you're there or beyond once you're an alumni. So it's all about creating your personal brand. It's your digital portfolio, art students and so forth who want to add things. And we'll show you what that is. So we'll get into it a little bit. So the first step we always talk about is adding your photo, a professional photo. This isn't Facebook. This isn't other social media where it's, you know, it's just looked at a little bit differently in that sense. But the purpose of a good photo is to just show a good face, just show your face. But not only that, it's important to have a face. If any of you have been on LinkedIn, maybe you get a connection request from somebody or you're looking somebody up and they don't have a photo. The first thing you tend to think, at least I think, is they're not really into this. or do they exist? Which, for the record, likely they do exist, because LinkedIn has a very, very strict policy as to maintaining actual real profiles on LinkedIn. I don't remember what the number is now, but there is basically a team that basically goes through and cultivates all of the fake profiles out of there. So if you're looking at a picture, if you're looking at a profile in general, highly, highly, highly likely it's an actual person. So when you do or don't have a photo, is a big difference. As you can see, more connection requests, you look real, more profile views because of that, and there's more messages because you look engaged. So this can be anything. You'll see mine. Mine is a photo I took at a restaurant. It's a close-up. It's a headshot. I showed a little bit earlier. Nothing special. It can be, it can be professional. It could be in a suit and tie or whatever you want to do. You can do the classic, like this. Everyone does those. It can be anything like that. But the fact is, add a photo. Nice photo. Get somebody to take a nice photo, nice background. Take it. You'll look good. You'll stand out. And it's easy to do that in the platform. I'll show you too. Add your industry. Industry is a great place to basically define, again, students, this is maybe where you want to be, define kind of who you are in terms of a professional. So in this case, it says computer software. It's relatively vague in that sense, but the idea is anything you're doing on here is making it easier for a recruiter to find you. And not only find you, but find you as a potential candidate. Again, one of the big services on LinkedIn is the recruitment service. So companies will go out and they will pay good money to be a recruiter on LinkedIn. And that comes with a certain set of tools. One of them is the ability to search the network wide for locations, skills, industries, all that kind of good stuff. And if you have that information populated in there, like for instance, I'm in the computer software industry, or I have this skill or I have that skill, you're going to turn up as a candidate. So it makes you more approachable by that individual recruiter. So that's very important. A summary. A summary doesn't need to be your life story. It's 40 words or so. It's the classic elevator pitch. It is admittedly often difficult to write about yourself. Most of the time it's kind of in the third person a little bit if you really read it. But the idea here is to just give your pitch as to who you are as an individual. I'm a professional. This is my experience. This is what I've done. You're basically, it's what's kind of in the, I've been in the news, I've been in a lot of different industries. The newspaper industry, they talk about, and they even online now, they talk about something above the fold. This is an above the fold type of thing. It's like first page on Google. When you look for something on Google, how often do you go to the second page? Probably not that often. It's first page, it's top. This is something that is basically going to be designed to get a hook. So you want to have something that's compelling, that tells a little bit of your story, but it's a hook to a potential recruiter that might be out there. Work experience. This is different from any individual. So this might be, a student, for instance. This could be any work experience. I have an internship. I guess it was an internship. I taught for a year. This was back in 2005, I want to say. How that is relevant to what I do now, probably not that relevant. It's still on my profile. So it's anything that I've done that tells a story as to building up from essentially high school, because you can put that on LinkedIn profile as well, building up to what got me to where I am now. It's telling your story. And so, again, when you have detail in your work experience, so in this case, this vice president is telling you what they do. So again, it's something that you don't want to have. It's not that you don't want to put too much information in there. It's something that wants to be compelling enough. It can be a good read. Maybe if it's the most recent experience you have, maybe that has more information as to what you are, because you're pitching yourself. But it might have more specifics. You see some, information, $20 million in sales and whatever this person's doing. That stuff is very information because it goes into a little bit more details to what you are. It's a good place to showcase your experience and kind of put it out there. But how do you do that further? You can add examples. So if you're in marketing, you're in art, you're anything where you have tangible examples of what you've done, there's a good place you can put this is on LinkedIn as well. Photos, presentations, videos, whatever you might do, it gives a, as it kind of says, a visual representation as to what you are, who you are as an individual, but almost specifically, here is some specific examples of what I've done. Here's an example of the work I've done in art or whatever it may be. Again, it's another further telling of your story on LinkedIn.
Eric, I want to jump in and just, we have a question here, and I think good question. So kind of back to the summary. So considering a lot of our guests today are admitted students or early in their college career, how do you write a summary when you don't have maybe a lot of experience yet? Is it okay? I mean, you can talk about what you're passionate about, you know, what your interests are in, you know, what recommendations do you have for them?
Yeah, good, really good question. And it's one we get very commonly when regarding students. So if you don't have a lot of experience in the sense of tangible, let's say boots on the ground types of experience, it is a good place to expand on the passions you have. You can almost speak in the future sense, let's say. I want to be here. This is what I'm going for. This is my goal. I want to be in this role. When I was in college, especially at the beginning, I had no idea what I was going to do. And I was a politics major. I don't know how that got to where I am now. But the point is if you do have a direction as to where you want to go, if you have an idea, there's two things to it. If you have an idea of where you want to go, put it in there. It's all about the things you've done to get you to the place you are. But again, kind of, and this is further down the road, but if you do have an idea where you want to go, it's a good place to start networking. Find people that are where you want to be and connect with them. So that's what I'd recommend specifically when we're talking about the summary is tell your story to this place, but also almost speak a little bit in the future tense as to this is my overall plan. If you're able to spell out, I used to hire interns in my previous line of work, and I would get students that were literally out of school. They had no work experience whatsoever. And I had to and this was back in the early 2000s, I had to really kind of dig into them and try to figure out who they were as an individual. If I can see something like this that could really tell me, this is what my passion is, this is where I am, this is what I would like to do with my life, and trust me, this might change multiple times in your life. I think it would be very helpful for me to do because there's a lot of companies out there that are looking for moldable employees. They're looking for people to become something that they can take and they can mold into what they want them to be. So that's really what I'd recommend. And it kind of goes to kind of even continuing is adding volunteer experience. If you've got anything that says, this is what I've done, add that in as well. You know, because again, it helps to tie the story together as to how you got to the place that you're in now.
There's a great question here, Eric, from Monica, and it's basically, it says, she says, what do you think about including jobs such as food industry, retail, et cetera, from high school on your LinkedIn experience? So here's an example. Brian Austin in 2003 to 2004 worked at Dairy Queen, you know, especially if you're early in your career. And I know you mentioned, you know, that on a typical resume, there are things that may fall off, but that's not necessarily the case with LinkedIn, right? So and that.
Yeah, and you're a really good example of where the Brian Austin then versus now. At some point, you may want to drop it off, right? Eventually, it gets too long, and you're not going to want to necessarily in your stage or where I am. I'm not going to necessarily put the fact that I was the only person who worked in a hardware store, mom and pop hardware store back in the late 90s.
Right.
You know, I can fix, you know, it's great for working at home and fixing things around the house. It doesn't really get me anywhere with my current job. So eventually you will be dropping things off. But the thing that I always talk to when I was hiring the interns, I used to work in minor league baseball. When I was hiring interns that had no experience, I'd always ask them, but really, did you? Did you work at Dairy Queen? What did you do? Because there was two things I looked at the most was, one, when did you start school and when did you finish? And not even really getting into degrees, because that didn't, in my job at the time, it didn't really make a difference. And two was the work experience. What did you do? Did you move up? Did you have changes when you're in there? The first one is I was looking for commitment and follow through. So when somebody said I graduated 4 years after I started, I saw in my head, that's a person that said, I'm committing to this, and they completed their commitment in time, if not earlier. So that was a big piece. Secondly was, let's say you were working at Dairy Queen, and honestly, 6 months into it, you got a raise, or you got put on a harder shift, or you got made a line manager or something else like that. Those are definitely things to put on your profile at this stage, because again, you're telling, you're green in the industry you're looking to get in potentially, but you're telling the recruiters out there that you're somebody who can grow. You start here and you went there, and that experience. And
I think that's, oh, go ahead, finish. Yeah, continue.
No, go ahead. That was my point. Is I think you're showing that you're growing as an individual wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Everyone understands. Coming out of school, you're gonna have more of the in-class learning and understanding, and it's going to be up to you to show that you can apply that. If you have other experiences where you've shown you can apply that, even if it's unrelated to your school major or whatever, it still shows you have the ability to apply.
Right. And visiting with recruiters, just to support that point, Eric, visiting with recruiters, I can't tell you, understanding, especially when they're looking to hire interns for the first, necessarily someone that's seasoned 5 years into their profession, but when they're looking for interns, they understand that a lot of interns aren't going to have the opportunity to do we were talking about a digital marketing internship before, right? So what they're looking at is when they see, oh, you were a lifeguard for 3 years. Oh, you were you worked at Barnes and Noble for 1.5 years. What that shows is commitment. It shows customer service, because there are things everyone needs to know a little bit about customer service communication. And so what they see is like, wow, that it carries more weight, especially early on in your career search, particularly when you're looking for that first internship. So I think it's absolutely, to support your point, include it, Monica. I mean, especially at this early stage. So.
Yeah. It's better to have something rather than nothing. Again, because it's funny, and I was just thinking, like, what from when I was the only employee at a mom and pop hardware store? I can count change back in reverse to people, because we had to do that to the penny, so I could still do that. And those are the types of things too, where it made me really good at head math, where I can do math pretty well in my head, and I was never good in school when it came to math. But it basically created that skill for me. So, and that, continue on with that is, if you do have skills, and this is where LinkedIn Learning can help you with this, is adding skills. And what this means when you're talking about getting an endorse or recommendations. So adding skills is, when you create your LinkedIn profile, you talk about what you have in terms of skills. Now, these are mostly, in some cases, mostly self-reported. However, they're actually reinforced through the community and through your network. So there's a few things there. One, the more network you have, the more of your network see that you say, I've got Microsoft Office as a skill. And therefore, the more people in your network that could say, actually, yeah, that's true. So you're using your network to help legitimize yourself in whatever skills you're talking about. Again, too, when you are on LinkedIn Learning and utilize LinkedIn Learning, when you complete a course, you get a certificate of completion. It can be shared with your faculty member, your staff member, your whoever on campus, but it can also be uploaded to your LinkedIn profile. When you complete a course like that, it adds skills. So you're not necessarily even having to self-report them anymore. It adds these skills, and people can further supplement this information by saying, yeah, this person does. What that does is, on the back end, those recruiters, again, who are utilizing the service to find individuals, they might have a job where they're looking for someone with financial analysis, let's say, as a skill. They'll start looking into a particular area. They'll look for that particular skill, maybe a handful of others. And if you have that skill listed and legitimized, you'll pop up as a candidate. So again, it's something that really go in there, and endorsements means that you actually go out and you solicit recommendations, if you will, or endorsements of others. So if I were on here and I say, hey, Brian, would you mind if you gave me an endorsement of XYZ thing, we work together, whatever. You can go out and do that, and it'll be something where an individual actually goes up. It's kind of like a recommendation, like you get on a resume in the past. You just kind of type it up as, Brian's really good at this, and we worked together doing that. It was really good. So it's a way, I forgot to skip this over, but it's a really good way to get an idea from your network, utilize your network. It's always good to have nice titles. But you go out there and you say, hey, give me a recommendation. I know we worked together a couple of years ago. We were in class together, whatever. It's a really good way for people to provide information for your profile as well, which again, when a recruiter goes on there and starts looking at it, they see these things, and it's more. So Brian at Dairy Queen was maybe leaving, saying, hey, boss at Dairy Queen, am I doing a little write-up as to how I was as an employee? That would go a long way to an individual who is looking to recruit for whatever they may be doing.
And a quick point of clarification. We've talked about, right, and your LinkedIn profile, but then you've also brought up LinkedIn Learning, right?
Right.
So LinkedIn Learning, I wanted to be clarified. Those are clarify exactly. So what Eric's talking about in this presentation, of course, is building up your LinkedIn profile. He referenced LinkedIn Learning, which we are super grateful to have worked with LinkedIn. I hope I'm not breaking up. It says my internet connection's unstable. But we have entered in an agreement with LinkedIn Learning so that every student at Wichita State University now has a site license for LinkedIn Learning, which is a learning management system that allows you to go in and look at what you would like to learn, professional skills, whether it be soft skills like communication, sales, but also hard skills like 360, the G Suite, the Google Suite, Outlook, all kinds of different technical skills. So as a WSU student, you will have access to that. We're doing a rollout next week so that every current student will have access to it. If you would like access to it before that time, email me directly at LinkedIn Learning. I guess me directly. Email this address directly at linkedinlearning@wichita.edu. And if Kim, our other host who's helping us out here, if Kim, you could put that in the chat for everyone, linkedinlearning@wichita.edu. That would be very helpful, and we can get you access to that site before we roll it out to the group. So I wanted to clarify that point. And it actually goes along with another question we had, Eric, from Adit, who says, is it a good time to be applying for positions now during the lockdown? And I think the answer to that, I'll answer it for you, is yes. I mean, if they're posted, apply for them. But he said a potential interview question, which I think is a good one, from an employer might be, what did you do during the lockdown, right? Well, what better thing to do than get on LinkedIn Learning and develop some of those skills?
Yeah, absolutely. And for those students that are preparing to transition on, take advantage, because LinkedIn Learning has tons of 8,000 courses in English, 15,000 in multiple languages, but one in particular was we have learning paths, and there is a learning path called How to Be a Successful Job Hunter that one, the learning path itself is how to write a resume, it's how to ace your interview, all that kind of good stuff. It's multiple courses within, so you can take an individual course, which might help you with those types of questions. What sort of interview questions might you come up against? How to prepare for that? I think one of the courses within is actually how to rock your profiles. We have kind of a course version of what we're doing here. That's a really good one to use to take advantage of while you have the opportunity to do so. And I actually failed to mention this before. Is we were talking before this is however you guys want to do this, Brian. But I also have a LinkedIn Premium account that I can give away after this for any one of those who have attended. So we might do a raffle, something like that, as a thanks for joining. Yeah, so there's a lot to take advantage of on LinkedIn Learning while you have it available to you. Like Brian said, it is across the board so much different stuff that you can utilize to really help you position yourself well on LinkedIn. So again, there is a version of this type of course on LinkedIn Learning for rocking your profile if you have questions on how to do some of this stuff. And we'll go through some of it too. And keep me honest too, if you don't mind, Brian, on time. We have 25 minutes. And
Sure.
I have a car horn that will not stop honking. And this is just a quick one about, don't forget when you're doing this, add your location, where you are, what sort of education you have, publications you have, accomplishments you have. All that stuff is very important because it, again, tells the story of who you are, even if it's not in a professional sense, if you will. Even if you're a student coming out of school, you want to add as much as you possibly can that shows who you are. Maybe in high school or in school, you had a certain GPA. That's something to put. Anything that really helps to tell you a little bit more as to what you can bring to the table as a new hire. So insights. So this is what I was telling you before, kind of getting into some of these insights. Gain knowledge, follow companies. Following companies is a really good way to find out who else potentially from the school, from WSU, is at the company you want, that you potentially want to go to. It's a way for you to potentially reach out to them and try to create a network connection. There's another way to do that, is through faculty. There's a fulcrum between alumni and current students. There's a center point. There's a connection point, and that connection point is oftentimes a faculty member. You know, they had you, or the alumni had a faculty member as a teacher, and so did you. So utilizing any common faculty members to be your bridge to the network is also another thing. So encouraging your faculty members to build their profiles is also really good because they create their own personal brands. They can be experts in their own field, but it also helps you to connect with alumni that are out there. So that's one reason you can do that with the faculty. You can do it with following companies. You can follow influencers. This is a good way to, again, provide a little color to yourself on your profile. So in this case, let's say there's an article written that you thought was really, that you really liked, or something about it was great. What you want to do is you take that, you can share it, add a little bit of information as to why you liked it, and then you can share it to your group. Not just don't take it, just add it on your profile. Maybe it does a little bit, but what it does is if you add a little bit of insight to it as to why I like this article, it provides a little bit more of you on there. And people will look. They won't just look at your profile today. They'll look at it in the past, especially recruiters. They'll want to see kind of what you're all about. You can search easily if you're looking for jobs. It's very easy to do so. Advanced search, as you might imagine, you can go through almost any sort of industry, company, however you like to look, and you can search for anything you want. Look for any sort of news content. You can change your feed up a little bit. It can be very much honed to who you are as to what you want to see. So that's a really good way to customize your feed, hide posts like you might imagine, a lot of good stuff like that. So questions. So we can go into questions here, but what I would like to do, and certainly send them to me, is I'm going to hop over to, hold on just a second here. I'll show you that later. I'm going to hop over to my profile. I'll show you guys a little bit more as to kind of what we're talking about. Okay. So this is my profile. Oops, sorry. There we are. This is my profile. Every single time this guy's at the top. He is like, so he's a CIO, a chief information officer in a school in New Jersey, who I follow. A friend of mine, work with him. He's got to be a top 10 person in terms of posts. He is always posting something. Like every day he's at the top. And I always comment, I'm like, man, you are so busy on this thing. And it's what it is. I mean, so this is your LinkedIn feed right here. And so it has a lot of information about articles that are interesting to you. It has other things that are suggested to you, all kinds of different stuff that you can do, groups you can follow. Another good way to connect with others is following groups. But look at this, I have LinkedIn Premium, so it tells me how many people have actually viewed what I've done or viewed my profile. And if they have certain settings, you can see who they actually are. So it tells you, hey, this is a guy I used to work with in baseball. You looked at my profile for some reason 2 weeks ago. So it gives you a little bit of insight as to what's going on as people looking at you and that kind of stuff. So it's good information. That's a LinkedIn Premium feature, but it's something to kind of take a look at. So I'm going to go up here, take a look. Here's my post and my activity, my profile itself. So I'll just click on my profile. Like I said, here's my picture. It's taken in a restaurant. Nothing too fancy, but it's just got me. It's a headshot. It's a good one. Recently changed the banner because I've missed traveling. This is my wife and I are supposed to be the year of the travel, and we haven't gone anywhere. We're supposed to be going to Hawaii. We're supposed to be going to New York City. All this other stuff is just not happening. So this is me dreaming that maybe someday I can hit the road again. So this is an interesting right here. Strengthen your profile. Hey, this is incorrect. This is a place where the rock your profile folks and the engineering folks kind of butt heads. So my role is I'm a hybrid sales representative, but in the rock your profile sense, you see this right here? This is what it's trying to tell me. It's trying to tell me to change this. But in the rock your profile sense, and company-wide, we really encourage this right here to be like a tagline, almost like your quick pitch. I am one who I can't avoid a pun if I can't have to or don't have to. So here's the in LinkedIn. So I say bring in new ideas to higher education. So this is a little bit about you, a way to possibly hook somebody. The other thing is instead of it saying hybrid sales representative, which is frankly boring, to a recruiter, this shows, it's a little bit creative. There's something about it. It's partially not taking itself too seriously, right? Which is it's a good quality to have. It's actually one of LinkedIn's tenets is just humor, just having a good humor. But it also tells a little bit about what you are. So that's interesting thing to do right there is to kind of update that. And then, here's my summary, talking to the third person. That's kind of what it is. I probably should update it. I think that's like 13 or 14 years. But here's my dashboard here. It kind of gives a little bit more information. You can do salary insights now too on LinkedIn, which you can actually look up different salaries for different jobs. You can see where you compare. That kind of stuff is interesting. Activity that I've done. This is my work experience. So you notice I've got a little bit of information on each one of these as to what I do, what I've done. My most recent ones are typically the longest ones. Has more information. Kind of where I am. I'm showing here that this is where I was, and then this is where I was, and then this is where I was, again, showing some sort of growth. This is where I was in the previous company. This is where I worked before. This is when I worked in baseball. This is when I worked in that school for 10 months as a teacher and realized I didn't want to do that, but I still put it in here. Here's where I went to school. Here's my graduate studies, various skills, certifications, endorsements. You can now take skills for your skills quizzes. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So when they introduced this I don't know, sometime last year, I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do an easy one. I'm going to do Microsoft Word. How hard is that? Hard. Well, I did not pass. There are so many random things in Microsoft Word that I never knew about, and I'm like, I had no idea, so I did not pass.
That's an
So
interesting feature. Yeah.
yeah. So
So
it's another legitimizer of your skills and your
right.
endorsements and your listings there.
So Eric,
So mhm,
I was continue and please continue
sure,
to show us other stuff here on your profile, but we are having some questions coming in, and I wanted to get to some of those rapid
yeah, go for
fire
it.
as soon as you're ready. So
Go for it. Yeah.
okay, so this next one is related, and I say rapid fire, and here I am. I'm going to talk for a little while, but the question is from Lisa. She says, I often receive connections from individuals I do not know or who are in industries I'm not related to professionally.
hmm
Is it beneficial for me to keep my network smaller and comprised of people I actually know and or who are in my same field, or is it more beneficial to accept all connections I receive in order to network? So
hmm
keep that question in mind.
Okay.
I have read articles that say there's no reason you should ever ignore a request unless it's blatantly,
Right.
false. And then the other thing too, which I want to point out, is we're talking about rocking your profile,
hmm
but the thing that allows recruiters to find you has a lot to do with, the size of your network, which it
hmm
can be small in the beginning, but, ultimately you want that to grow over time.
Right.
So thinking about Lisa's question and mine, and then I have some others to get to. So
I was going to show you. Um, so here's my philosophy on it. I got an inappropriate request for a connection, and I guess I already turned it down, so you don't see it. But I got one not that long ago. So my philosophy on it, and for as far as I know, a lot of people on LinkedIn is, if I've talked to you, if I've encountered you in some way, then yeah, go ahead. If it's completely random, um, then probably no. So I turn down quite a few. I'll get very random ones that come from all over the place. And if I don't know you in any respect whatsoever, I tend to not accept the connection request. So the one thing I was going to say, and I guess I can really kind of show it's kind of fun, it's kitschy a little bit, but though I don't know if you can see this here, but so the one last thing here. So if you'd like to, so if you have your phone, pull out, if you have LinkedIn on your phone, go to the app. So you hop on LinkedIn. Where is it? So you go to the app. I don't know if you can see this in my screen or if it's going to mess it up. Yeah, it's not really showing it. Here, let me turn off see if I can turn it off here. Won't let me. Oh well. So if you go to the app, I don't know if you can see it because of the background, but right at the top there's a search bar. And apologies if you hear someone walking by here. There's noise right next to me. Within the search bar, there's a QR kind of looking button, right? So if you click on that, it brings up a camera or the code that you see on your screen. So that's a way, it's a networking feature that you can use. So you can basically take that camera and just aim it at your screen right now, and it'll look up the QR code and it'll bring my profile up. And all you can do is just hit connection request. So that's one way that it's a fun way when you're doing in-person networking to connect with people. But again, it kind of goes to the idea of any of you on here. I may not really know any of you. I may not talk to any of you, but certainly I'm going to take the request. I'm going to accept the request. Mainly because connection requests like this always tend to come back to me. I have students from schools across the country that I've done presentations for, and they've requested a connection. One was, I don't know, 15 months ago, and she reached out to me a couple weeks ago, and I helped her actually get an interview with LinkedIn. And so it was just, she just had, it was just a connection request. It was something she just threw a little, hey, thanks for meeting with us. It was nice talking to you. And it was like, cool. Yeah, that was great. Year and a half later, it kind of paid off. So long and short is I tend to kind of restrict a little bit of who I do connect with. You can see I think I'm over like 700 connections actually, quite a bit, 763. So quite a few. And this is just, and did you have other questions too? I know you mentioned there might be some others.
No, I think you addressed that question fairly well, Eric. So there are essentially different philosophies for Lisa who asked that question. You can be restrictive, but generally the philosophy is if you've met that person, if you've with that person in some way, then yeah, send an invite or accept an invite. One thing I'll put out there for anyone that wants to connect with me that's in this right now, Brian Austin, just search for me in LinkedIn. I'd be happy to connect with you. And just request, send an invite to connect and I'll accept it. Another thing too is a lot of students might consider that they're building their professional network right now while they're in the classroom. So classmates add your classmates. Those are people if you would have told me at the age of 20 or 21 how many people that I was sitting next to in class I would have a professional working relationship with down the road, it's incredible. And it doesn't always happen right away, but you encounter those people in your profession later on. And so it's a great way to begin building in like LinkedIn is just adding your classmates. So I want to get to some other questions here. We do have some rapid fires. So hang on. Let's see.
While you're doing that, I'm going to hop into this. You can turn on LinkedIn to either be passive. It can be passive job recruiting, so for yourself, or it can be active. So you can now turn it on and I'll go through this while you're going. Go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah. So are there unspoken rules of etiquette when it comes to adding people, which we kind of addressed a little bit already, but anything else you'd want to speak to that?
Yeah. Well, so in particular to the unspoken rules, LinkedIn is actually really good at policing itself. So you have certain social networks that kind of do their thing. And if someone makes a post or anything like that that sort of skews from the professional aspect of what LinkedIn is, it's interesting how the network typically does a good job of policing. In other words, what they do is they say, hey, so-and-so, this isn't necessarily something that belongs here. It belongs somewhere else. So in terms of unwritten rules, it's interesting how that's kind of been the case. It's kind of been created that way. And then we kind of talked about the connections itself. Honestly, when you're looking to connect with somebody, and that's another thing what you can do with Premium, with LinkedIn Premium, which is a little bit different, is you can do what's called an in-mail. And an in-mail is an opportunity to message somebody that's not in your network. So you sometimes cannot do that. So if Brian and I weren't connected, there are settings that you can put in your LinkedIn account itself. There's privacy settings. You can go any different ways. You could set it where Brian could say, I don't want to receive any messages from someone I don't know, or I'm not yet connected with. In-mails, a lot of people, not all, but a lot of people will have it available so that you can be approached with an in-mail, which means you can approach somebody who you're not connected with.
So related to that, what kind of things, and this was one of my questions I had if nobody asked it, was what kind of things get you noticed by a recruiter? So I've heard that up to 50 recruiters try to identify talent through LinkedIn. In my experience, what I have seen is people who are more active on LinkedIn, who post things, who you have the opportunity, even if you really want to get into it, to write and share articles on LinkedIn. So what kind of things help you get noticed by a recruiter, Eric?
Yeah, so you kind of hit it, is sharing posts. You can make, so I can go in right now, I can go into my posts, or I can go into my own, so what I try to do is I try to be active every single day, even if it's just liking stuff. Because it tells a little bit more, because anyone can go in your post and kind of see what you've been doing and all that. There's Milos again, twice. back to back. So 3 times actually. You know what I mean? This guy's all over the place, always posting. But you can go in and you can do so much to tell your story. You can also post articles that you've written, so many different things. And again, the more you do that, the more it just tells about kind of who you are. But I was gonna show you too. So kind of going back, so you can actively tell recruiters. So right now, let's say myself, Brian, others who are kind of where they are, they're in the positions, they're comfortable. You're kind of on a passive recruitment phase. People still can reach out to you, and they probably will. Probably get I don't know, at least a reach out a month, if not more, by recruiters. But you can go out and you can actually create settings for job preferences. You're basically telling recruiters, I'm open for business. And so you can go through and you can choose all the different stuff. You can put your type of, whatever it happens to be. I want to be a project manager, or I want to be a, let's see if there we go, solutions architect. That's a good one. This is the type of thing I want to do. I want to be full-time, or maybe it's an internship. I want either recruiters to see this or all LinkedIn members. For the case of this, I'm going to put only recruiters because I don't need people all seeing that. And then I can add it to my profile. And what it does is I'll get a ping in any number of seconds, which I'll have to make sure to turn off after this, that tells me, hey, here are all the jobs in that particular area that fit that particular thing you're looking at. So not only does it give you the opportunity to approach those jobs, but you're literally telling the recruiters that, again, I'm open for these jobs and I fit this particular. So it's kind of turning that on. See here, it says open to new job opportunities.
Right.
And then, I mean, there's so many different things you can, like I said, you can change your profile to be very private. Oh, one final thing I wanted to show you guys. Wichita State University. I know we've got 5 minutes. So this is your university page on LinkedIn. So this is likely, there's Brian. Likely attended to by your marketing department, something like that. But this is where Wichita State lives on LinkedIn. So they own it. They put information on here. They put posts. Anything that basically has like a hashtag, here you go, Wichita State, will go here. So for students, if you're looking to build your network a little bit, or maybe you're looking to go and speak to alumni, go to this little tab here, alumni, and you can pare this down. Let's call it 2018 to 2020. This is telling you of the 9,000 alumni that are on LinkedIn right now, here's where they're working. Here's what they're doing. So let's say, obviously, and I looked this up before, you obviously got a lot of aviation. Maybe you want to get into Textron. So you can get in, sorry, you probably hear my dogs barking. You want to get into Textron. So here I am, I'm going to click on Textron a little bit further. So now it's going to drill down on them. And then look at what you find.
Yeah. That's
you're connected to a lot of people that work there.
Yeah. This is a great, it's true. This is a great resource. And even if, I know we talked about adding people to LinkedIn. This is a tremendous resource, I think, and I it fruitful for me and other students is, even if you don't know someone, but they are in a career that you are interested in, reaching out and just inviting them to connect. And in your invitation, you can add a little text. You can say, hello, my name's Brian Austin. I see that you're a, industrial engineering specialist or whatever it might be. Interested in learning more about your career, would love to connect. Something like that. And people generally connect. We're getting short on time here, Eric.
Right.
So the one thing I wanted to put out, if you click on your home screen, that's another, just go to your home. What I recommend to students, at least when they're especially first starting out on LinkedIn, is say you spend 2 hours a day on Instagram and Twitter combined, or 2 hours a day on I don't know what other, Snapchat and Instagram combined, whatever it is. Replace 30 minutes of that each day with a little bit of LinkedIn. Career news hits first on LinkedIn. There are so many things that I see that are breaking news that will come up first through LinkedIn. And then I can go and click on the article to learn more. And that's true locally and nationally. That kind of news will hit my feed first on LinkedIn.
Yep.
And so I know there are some questions that we didn't get to. What we will do is, if Kim is helping us moderate this, she's listening right now, if you will help us keep track of those questions, and we will try to follow up with you after the fact to make sure we get answers. But is there anything you'd like to leave us with as a final thought, Eric?
Well, I mean, one thing I think really to think about is your profile can really be a living and breathing thing. It's not something, as you mentioned, it's something that you're constantly cultivating, you're constantly improving, you're constantly adding new network members, connections, all these different things. It's the one sort of thing that a lot of people think about with LinkedIn is it helps you get a job. And then once you have that job, it's kind of like, it's kind of on, and then it's just kind of set and forget it. But the more you actually continue to operate on it, and it can be as simple as, here's an interesting article I like, I'm going to share that, I'm going to put my 2 cents on top of it. The more you do that, the more network you get, the more people start to see about you, which also in turn brings about other opportunities. So the more opportunities you have, the more chances that you have and choices that you have in terms of where you want to go with your life. As other people can attest to, I was a politics major. I went into conflict resolution. I went into mediation. I worked in professional baseball. I was all over the place until I've gotten to where I am now. The point being is that what I have here has continued to evolve over time. And what you have here is also very translatable as to potentially where you want to go. So continue to cultivate, continue to monitor, continue to be active is something I think that's very important. And it certainly is. Mm-hmm.
That's great news, great advice. And there's still, after being on LinkedIn for several years, it's something I get on every day, and it's something that I continue to find value in. Just in growing your network. That's one of the best things you can do for your career. I want to thank you again, Eric, for helping us rock our profiles out today. And I mentioned, so thank you to the audience for all of your questions. For those that we didn't get to, we will follow up and provide you answers to those directly. And I think that's it. So, Eric, thanks again. And yeah, take care. Go Shockers.
All right. Thanks for having me.